Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder's Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Rixson. This is their part number 253000-PKG. This is basically what is called a cement case. A cement case is a vital piece of equipment used when installing floor closers. This model, I'm pulling it out of a 25 box, but the molding down in the bottom of the case, which we do have an image for, although you can't see here. It says it's for a 25, 26, a 325, a 327, a 27, and a 28 model, is what they say there. And this video is just to show you what this looks like. Let's give you some basic dimensional properties. Just putting it into scale, I suppose. About an overall length is going to be about 11 1/4. An overall width is going to be about 6 inch. An overall height looks like it's about 4 inch. So this is plastic. There's a technical word for this. It's been years since I've heard it. I don't know what this is called. Actually, what's interesting is they call this a foundation case down in the bottom of the unit. I've only ever known it as a cement case. So the reason that at some point in the past Rixson switched from that ferrous-based cement case and this won't rust. Cement cases, I've literally seen photographs of them coming out in big giant pieces. When metal rusts so severely, it looks like strata of limestone that is, just crumbling, but long, thin sheets of it. And it's not a lot of use when that cement case is so thoroughly degraded. You can't just pop a new body into it, or you can't reinstall a repaired or rebuilt version of that body if you've got a floor closer that was discontinued many, many, many years ago. So the concept with this high-tech plastic is that it won't rust. And really, what are you doing with this? What you're doing with it is just you're placing it. You are using these holes as guides. You're making sure that this is placed perfectly in the opening with a plumb bob coming from your top pivot, setting that, most likely in mortar, around that, and letting that set there till it's done. The cement case's purpose in life is to keep the cement from the closer body. Now, what's really funny is I'll try to find a picture of someone who installed a Rixson Junior, who knows, before World War II, without a cement case. And the downside of that is, well, it worked, and it worked for 70, 80, 90 years. Getting it out was the problem, because they want us to rebuild the Junior, which we may be able to. The year's 2022. 2 years ago it was no problem. Nowadays, we just don't have any parts left to do it. And it's a closer that was used in that application with mortar poured around it without a cement case. So it was actually quite interesting. I should be able to find that. Another question that I get from people, not with cement cases, but with pivots that are rated for 1,000 pounds, like the H117-3/4 maybe. There are no holes in the bottom of that pivot for screws, because there are no fasteners that are meant to handle that sort of weight of a 1,000-pound door. So they use these bent studs, and that bent stud is literally meant to give you surface area when you're pouring mortar around this. So that's what that's for. Now, these threaded inserts, those are for the 4 included screws that you will attach the actual floor closer to once you set it in. You'll tighten it down, then the floor closer cover will go on top of that, the whole 9 yards. Okay. So let's switch to the screen view and see what kind of supporting information we can find. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. So this is the item that we are looking at. Let's take a look at some photographs that we have of the actual cement case. Just different perspectives of showing you what the cement case looks like. Obviously the fasteners. I know that Rixson has a video on their site, and that's the information down in the bottom of the case, showing how to install a floor closer, and they do go over setting the cement case in detail. Let's see if we can find that. So when I do a search in YouTube, I just type in Rixson install floor closer, and it does indeed come up as a, right here. This is the factory original This video does allow you to take a look at how they're setting that floor closer installed in its case.
Locator over the spindle. While the cement sets, attach.
Exerting a lot of energy to make sure that it is true plumb level and square, and here comes the mortar that they'll get in around it.
Quick drying cement to test fit the door. To complete the operation, be sure
there you go. So this video is linked down below here, so you can look at that should you want to in detail. Yeah, we've looked at the photos. I am unable to locate the image of that closer body that was poured directly into concrete, but I found another one in a wood floor installation that will kind of give you the concept. And it's here. I mean, imagine if you just set that in place, then you poured all around it. That's literally what was done. This installation is of a Rixson Junior that's probably 1930s, but this is a closer without a cement case at all. When someone wants to install a floor closer in a new installation, I tell them to build a box not at all dissimilar to the one that you can kind of see here.
The closer with cement. Some installers like to partially fill the hole with quick
this structure here that he's pouring into. I tell customers to build that box out of 2x, 12 or whatever it has to be, and then repeat this process, setting the closer into the floor like this. So that's really what the cement case does. Foundation case, cement case. So there's a link below this video as seen here, and before we click on that, let's copy our part number, fire up this page, and then you can open up the full line product catalog and do a search for this, and it will come up. It will show you all of the instances of where this cement case shows up. It shows up in different closer variants as you would expect, it being compatible with different closers. The 27, the 127, 427, 327, the variants of the 27, the 28, 328, 428, but if we were to look in an older document, the 2008 price book, not that you would need to, but you're going to find this part number is going to come up in the 25 as well. When the 25 was still made. This is all 27, 25s, here we go. 25s on the 25s use that same cement case. And we do try to save these old catalogs for this sort of research perspective. Also, everything else on this page, all of the Rixson products we sell by means of that horizontal navigation. There's also a link to the manufacturer's website, to the most current product catalog. And speaking of product catalogs and research, I have a catalog of Rixsons from 1920. You will find floor closers in there. Very interesting. Okay. Interesting stuff that we have here from Rixson. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. So in conclusion, if you have any questions on the Rixson, this was their part number, I don't remember, 253000, or any other Rixson product, please feel free to reach out to us. The name Rixson has been around for well over a century. I believe that they're a 19th century company. Myself, they were in Franklin Park, Illinois forever, on Belmont Avenue, just to the west of River Road. I've driven past that facility countless times. And, when it comes to floor closers, they're not the only people who make them, but, well, speaking for my opinion only, they make those that are going to be the products that you're going to see installed decades later, still working. There are other people who make floor closers, and I know the names, and you may as well, but I don't ever see any of those installed successfully several decades later. And also, Rixson has a product offering that addresses those extremely, obscenely heavy doors. You're doing a 4070 lead lined in a hospital. Don't bother with others. You're going to look at Rixson. Now, people north of the border up in Canada, they shun Rixson floor closers because in their experience it doesn't work in the prolonged cold temperatures. I would address that by saying, well, I'm from Chicago, and Chicago's no stranger to prolonged cold temperatures. And Chicago City Hall is all Rixson floor closers. And if you've ever seen the movie The Blues Brothers, at the very end when they're running into the big building, that's City Hall. To me, growing up there, you know that it's City Hall. And you may not if you've never really been there. But all of those bronze doors that are outside of the building, those are all Rixson floor closers. And they've been there forever. I know that other major landmark buildings in Chicago use Rixson floor closers by the skid load, is what they do. So there must be... I get what you're saying about prolonged temperatures and fluid. I get that. There's obviously going to be a performance issue. And I was just thinking that we may have gone into conversation about feeding an electric warming functionality to those areas. If I recall correctly, someone may have offered the suggestion that someone actually tried that. But the point of the matter is they do work in exterior applications, and if your experience tells you that they don't, then you'll obviously avoid them altogether. But when it comes to concealed mounting, being able to handle the weight of the door very elegantly, because the door is literally sitting on that floor closer, which is supported by the earth, it's a pretty smart way to handle or hang a door to begin with, regardless actually of its weight. But the name Rixson is synonymous with more. It is synonymous with floor closers, but other things as well. Obviously, pivots. So if you have questions about Rixson pivots or any of their products, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.